my honor and privilege to be your guide on this underwater adventure. My name is Trooper Seth Little. This is May, our interpreter. Let's give her a hand. She's been along. And I just want to say that I am always impressed with the way that John Giddings, he takes care of the rollover. All right, it might seem a little dry, but he makes it exciting. So let's give John Giddings a hand. Wherever he might be. I love you, John. All right, let me introduce you to the rest of my crew. We have coming up those stairs our fearless leader. Here he comes. Our fearless leader.
Hey, sorry, here I am.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Last name.
We just ate.
Okay.
So,
did you have a little funnel cake? You gotta wait 45 minutes?
1 hour.
Okay, there's an hour break. No, I'm sure. Tech Sergeant Neil Case. Very nice. And then we got coming up those stairs, he's just happy to be here. You can see the smile on his face. Is Trooper Mike Hennessy. And then we have the Big E from Troop D, Greg Eberl, Troop D, Senior Diver. Now, as these guys are getting ready for the underwater demonstration, I'm going to give you a little history of the New York State Police dive team. Our first dive as a dive team was logged in 1932. That makes us the oldest, and we are also the largest public safety dive team in the United States. Your safety dive team, the New York State Police Underwater Recovery Team, right?
Yay!
Now, in 1932, we had hard helmets. We had canvas suits, we had weighted shoes. We also had a weighted belt. Altogether, the gear was well over 100 pounds. But back then, we had some retired Navy divers that were part of the state police, and they were called on to find evidence, and they did. They got the job done. So that's when they formed the dive team. Now, in 1943, there was a smart fellow by the name of Jacques Cousteau. Jacques Cousteau invented the aqualung. The aqualung is commonly called SCUBA. It's an acronym. It means self-contained underwater breathing apparatus. It brought the 100 pounds of weight and condensed it down to about 40 pounds or so. A lot more conducive to going in the water and fighting items. Now, in 1957, the New York State Police decided to adopt this new to us technology as its preferred method of dive because it was a lot simpler. So, they decided in 1958 to send representatives down to the Navy Dive School in New Jersey, all right? They wanted to learn from the best. So they went through the Navy Dive School, and after they went through the Navy Dive School, they brought all the information, they brought it back to Albany, and they started their own novice dive school. The novice dive school that we have in the New York State Police, it is known as one of the hardest schools that there is. Now, if you're lucky enough to make it through the tryouts, which most are not, it is a 10-week course in which this last school we started with 30 and we only graduated 15, okay? So to get where these guys are, it takes a lot of effort, a lot of fortitude. Let's give them a hand. Now, kids, if you want to come up and you want to see better the dive and the divers, you are more than welcome to cross the lines, come up here, sit in front of the tank. In fact, we encourage it. Come over the lines, come with your parents, go ahead and sit down in front, jump the ropes, crawl under the ropes, just don't get choked with the ropes. Oh yes. So, before you dive, you need to know that you never dive alone. You always dive with somebody. They are called your dive buddy. Come on over, it's all right. Go ahead. All right. You always dive with somebody. They're your dive buddy. All right, so these two, they checked each other out. They made sure each other's gear was working okay.
Yeah, we're all set.
You're all set. So go ahead. When you're ready, enter the water.
Well, I mean, we're going to need a countdown.
You're going to need a countdown.
Yes.
We didn't learn that in dive school.
You can start from 3.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right, so I am trying to bring the energy to you in this show. I am not feeling it back. I need to feel the love, okay? So, when I say go, I need to hear a nice 3, 2, 1. Are we ready? Are we ready?
Yeah!
All right, go! 3, 2,
1.
Wait.
Yes, Sarge.
They can do a lot better than that.
I know, this is the last URT demonstration of the fair. You are here.
We need a little
You
bit
are
more.
witnessing history. Are we ready?
Yeah!
All right. Go. 3, 2, 1. Okay. So as they get into the tank, the first thing that you're going to notice is that they are not rising really fast to the top and they are not sinking really fast to the bottom. Now you might say, well, that looks easy. It's not. This is actually the sign of an advanced diver. This is somebody who has mastered buoyancy. This is called neutral buoyancy, okay? It's sort of like floating around in space. Some of the gear that they have a mask. That mask covers their eyes. There's a layer of air between their eye and the lens. And then they also have a regulator. That regulator provides air. That air is coming out of a tube which is attached to a first stage, which is attached to a tank. That tank has 3,000 pounds of air coming out of it, all right? It's high pressure. So that first stage on top of the tank actually reduces that air pressure to an intermediate pressure of 145 pounds. And then that air is brought down the line and given to the diver on demand through the second stage regulator. That tank is attached to a buoyancy control device. Those black flaps that the sergeant is holding right now are actually bladders. You can either fill those with air or you can dump air out of them. And that makes you either rise or sink, or if you're perfectly balanced, it's called neutral buoyancy. Fun fact about masks. When you look through a mask underwater in clear water like this, because of the space between your eye and the lens, things appear 33% larger and 25% closer. So if you were to ever talk to somebody that, I was just down in the Florida Keys and I was diving and there were barracudas and there were this big round, okay, it's not that big, it's more like that big, but it's a good story, right? But in any case, in here, we have Sergeant Case and he's playing with the shark. Leave the shark alone, all right? They're dangerous. So, he's a big man, he's large and in charge. If he was to give a gun show in there right now, if he's flexing it right in front of Trooper Hennessy might be a little intimidated by those muscles that look 33% larger. But you're a trooper, and you don't get intimidated, you take care of business. So take care of it. All right, they're doing a little under, oh, there goes the masks. Now, the reason that these masks came off is because this is a demonstration of sometimes things go wrong underwater. It's not somebody ripping off your mask, but your mask might come off. The first thing is you do not panic as a diver. Panic is what will hurt you every time. So he just puts the mask back on. He creates the seal just like he would at the surface. And then he creates a little crack at the bottom of the seal and the upper lip. And he blows air out of his nose. When he does that, the air will come up. It will push the water out, displacing it. And he will have a nice clear mask again to see 33% larger and 25% closer. There are other things that can go wrong because the water that we're in does not normally look this clear. The normal color of the water is this, okay? We are in the Hudson River, we are in the Susquehanna River, we are in a lot of cow ponds and things of that nature. When you are in a river, there is river flow. And a lot of times you're sort of just going along the bottom and you might get caught in something such as rebar or shopping carts or whatever, you know, a tree with limbs. But the sergeant here is going to show you what we do. The number one thing is we do not panic. We have air in our mouth, we're okay. But he will take his gear off. When he takes that gear off, he will set it down. If he can figure out what's wrong with it, he will figure out what's wrong with it. But if he can't, he will then leave his gear. He will take a breath from his regulator, and then he will blow air out of his mouth. You'll see the bubbles coming out all the way up to the top, okay? That is for safety reasons. Now, if he gets to the top and says, you know what, I can figure out what's wrong, he can then surface dive back down to his gear, as long as we're talking 10, 15 feet. And he goes down there and he grabs his gear because it weights him down. And then he will first grab the air, he will put it in his mouth, he will get comfortable, and then he will put the gear back on. That's simple. Okay? Now, at 15 feet or so, you're thinking to yourself, all right, no big deal. Why is that so, impressive? The fact is that the New York State Police dive team, we are trained in order to dive 5 atmospheres, okay? That is our training. And you might ask me, what is 5 atmospheres?
What is 5 atmospheres?
Okay, I'm glad you asked. 5 atmospheres is 132 feet. So, if you look at the top of this tower right here, this tower is 60 feet tall. So, add another tower on top of that, and then add yourself another 12 feet. Last I checked, that's 132. So, yes, Arch, right. Yes, tower, and then 12 feet is 132. We go down that deep, you've trained us to, and we do not panic. But there are certain things that can happen down at that depth because there are certain pressures that are down there that aren't on top. A lot of times, regulators, they actually might freeze flow, okay? Or you might run out of air because you're breathing in too much at that depth. So we're gonna have Trooper Hennessy demonstrate here what we do if we run out of air. Trooper Hennessy is going to get his buddy's attention and he's gonna give him the, hey, I'm out of air sign. His buddy will come over. The first thing he does is he takes the regulator out of his mouth, he grabs his buddy's ear, and then he sticks his regulator in his buddy's mouth. Now he maintains control of that regulator, and they take turns breathing. And the reason he maintains control of that regulator is because you want the person who has air, the person who is less nervous, the person who is more in control to have control of the air. And once they get calm and everything gets taken care of, then they will give the signal, let's go up. They will ascend the full 132 feet all the way to the surface at a nice slow pace as not to hurt themselves. All right. Now, there are other reasons that we might want to take a gear off of ourselves, and it's not because it gets stuck or where there's a malfunction. We might want to take gear off ourselves in order to get small. And the reason I'm saying that is because if you remember in 2018, there was a soccer team by the name of the Wild Boars. Okay? The soccer team was over in Thailand. And what happened to them is they didn't have soccer games, so they decided, let's go cave diving. Or not diving, sorry, cave exploring. So they went into the cave, it started raining, and it pushed them back. The rain kept going, and where they were, the water came up. They kept moving back. All together, they moved back 2.5 miles in that cave system. These weren't big kids, these weren't big coaches. All right, they were fitting through small places. So the divers that came from around the world had to get small in order to reach them. So what they did is what Trooper Hennessy is going to do here. He is putting his pack in front of him. And when he comes to a tight spot, he will put his pack there first. He keeps the air in his mouth, and then he follows that pack through the tight place in order to get to where he needs to get to. And the fact is that all the divers that came together, they rescued each kid, they rescued each coach. All right? But one of those divers actually died during that operation. There is an inherent risk of being underwater. It is not natural to breathe underwater, but they were willing to put their lives on the line, just like these guys are, every time they enter the water. So let's give them a hand. All right, as you can tell, I got a little gray on the side of my head. I'm recently a brand new grandfather, and so it's a wonderful thing. But when I grew up, we didn't have remote control, we didn't have cable. What we had was 2 dials. Okay, there was UHF and VHF. And the way that my dad used to tell me to change the channel was hit me on the back of the head and said, hey, go change the channel. Okay. I used to like to watch Johnny Quest as a kid, all right? Johnny Quest had the cool stuff. This is a DPV, a diver propulsion vehicle. This would be akin to Johnny Quest's underwater scooter. And what you will see is Trooper Hennessy in here. It's got a battery, it's got a motor, and it's got a propeller. And it is going to propel him through this water nice and easy. If it's working. Is it working? No, it's not. But don't worry, we always carry backup. So there is the other one. So, as he is getting ready to propel himself underwater, one of the reasons that we might use this is because if something is not conducive to a boat, you know, we might use this instead in order to save ourselves energy. If you save energy, you save air, so when you get to the place where you're supposed to go to, you will have more of each. Now, he is making this look real fun, real easy, but I think, don't you think, kids, that he should try and go through that tunnel right there with that? Say, yeah. Yeah, do it for the kids, Mike, come on. Let's spicy this up a little bit. Just don't chop off your face with the propeller. Kids don't want to see that. Let's see. It's tight. He's got the bigger DPV, but he makes it through. Give him a hand. Give him a hand. Good job.
Hey, Seth.
Yes, sir.
He made it.
Yeah, you've been
It's
enjoying
pretty
the
good.
show?
What's that?
You've been enjoying the show?
Oh, yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
I
good.
think I want to try it now.
Sarge, I don't think that's a good idea. You're about 33% larger than him.
It just looks that way underwater.
Yeah, but you're not underwater.
No, I can fit. I know I can.
Sarge, you tried to fit in skinny jeans once and it didn't work out well.
No, I didn't. It's just a joke for the show.
Oh, no, it's not. That's okay. All right. So you want to try that?
Yeah.
You guys think that he'll be able to fit through that tunnel with the DPP?
Yeah. See, they all think I can fit.
Oh, okay. Well, you are the Sarge, so go ahead.
All right.
All right. So this is Tech Sergeant Neil Case. He is the head of our dive team. He is the division dive officer, and he is adept at all the skills and in teaching us and taking care of us, his troops on the road. So he's going over there and he is grabbing the DPV, and I'm looking at that tunnel, Sarge, and I'm looking at you, and I'm thinking that it is not such a good idea to try that. He's lining up anyhow. Let's see what happens. No, Sarge. No. Bad idea. No. Didn't work. One. Okay. All right. You have an idea. All right. I am not one to argue with the sergeant. Let's see what happens here. Here he goes. No, that's unfair. That's unfair. But he did a good job. Very clever. That's why he's a sergeant. I am not. All right. So good for him. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the bread. What, Sarge? Yeah, we all clapped for you. You're very, yeah, I know. You're, all right, everybody, let's clap again. You want some food? No? Greg, do you got anything to feed Sarge with? He just joined the show here and he's a little hungry. A banana. Okay, well, hey, that's good. That way he won't cramp later. All right, so as he is eating that banana, I'm going to tell you about our bread and butter as a search team. All right, we are the underwater recovery team. And like I said, the water that we're in does not look like that. It looks like this, but we have sure methods of finding things in the water. In fact, our motto is, if it is in there, we will find it. It doesn't matter how big it is, doesn't matter how small it is, we will find it if it is in the water. And one of the sure methods that we use is the line search, okay? So this is a line search. There is a line, there is two heavy weights on either side of this line. And then, what he will do is he will put on the novice dive school mask. That novice dive school mask simulates being in low vis or no vis. And we're going to throw some evidence down there. All right, and what you will see is once he puts on that mask, he will have one hand on the line, and as he is going down that line, he will touch everything that is on the ground, okay? He won't let anything miss his touch. So as he's going down there, touching everything, you'll see this octopus. The octopus is the symbol of our team. The reason that the octopus is the symbol of our team, because if you've ever seen it move on the floor of the ocean, it touches everything. So divers are supposed to touch everything. We've recently learned governors not so much.
Hey, Seth.
Yes, sir.
Not even Italian governors?
Not even Italian ones.
All right.
All right. But anyhow, all that to say, he will touch every inch of the bottom of that tank, making sure that he doesn't miss anything. Let's see if he finds what we're looking for. And he did. He found a gun. All right. Give him a hand. Okay, I told you that our preferred method of dive is scuba, but we have found in recent years reason to go back to hard helmets. And the reason that we would go back to hard helmets is because if we are in an overhead environment, we might go under the water. A lot of times we're cutting holes in the ice. We might go in a cave, or if we're going into a plane, or if we're going into a boat. We want to protect our beautiful heads, especially Greg's beautiful head. That's right. And also, one of the things that the diver's helmet allows us to do is Greg is the best dancer in division, right? I've heard it. I've heard you are. So we're going to put Greg in the water here. All right, so Greg is going to get down. And then we're gonna give you guys just a nice little ending, a little cherry on top of this ice cream sundae. And so we are going to, DJ Tarochi, are you up there? Yes, there he is. All right, he's got a special song picked out for us to sing. We're gonna sing this together, all right? So I want everybody to join me on this. Who knows this song? Huh? All right. We want to hear some bop bop boss. Are you with me? All right. Where it began, I can't begin to know it, but then I know it's growing strong. Was in the spring, and spring became the summer. Couldn't believe you come along. And come on,
Touching hands,
touching hands, reaching out. Come on, touching me, touching you. Look at the night, and it don't seem so lonely. We fill it up with only two. And when I hurt, it runs off my shoulders. How can I hurt holding you? All right. War, come on, touching warm, reaching out, touching me, touching you. Sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good. Oh, come on! You believe they never would. Oh, no, no. Look at those guys just moving in that tank. Huh? Best dancers in division. Greg, let me see it. Come on. Sweet Caroline. Good times never seem so good. Sweet Caroline, I believe they never could. Sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good. Sweet Caroline, I believe they never could. No, no, no. Yeah! All right. We have the best posers in the tank there. All right. So if you want to get your picture taken or your kid's picture taken in front of the divers, come on over. Get your picture taken. If you have any questions about scuba, I will be more than happy to field those. Other than that, it has been a pleasure over these last days. Enjoy the fair. Those sword guys are next. Thank you very much.